Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Gains with Gabe, where you gain knowledge with me, Gabe. All right. So, in this episode, we're going to be talking about soffit panels. So, how do we model soffit panels? We're just going to talk about regular rectangular soffit panels in this video. It's a little more complicated shape. You can look at that and determine the best way. But the most common case, it's rectangular soffit. Where the panels are all flat, and I'll show you how to do that. All right. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go to your project, and go to the architecture tab, and go to roof. So you want to be in kind of either a floor plan or a 3D view. You're gonna go to roof, and you're gonna hit roof by footprint. Might ask you, if you've created the roof at the lowest level, would you like to move it to level 2, just depending on what level you're in. You could say level 1's fine, wherever it is off the floor. So as you can see that I selected it, it's going to open up the basic roof. I want to change that to WWR sloped wall RO. But again, I'm going to, like everything else, I'm going to make a new type, duplicate, call it Soffit. Just hit OK. Now that I have a slope pleasing type, you can see it's going to be at my first floor. It's going to be right at the first floor. So I'm just going to put an offset like 8 feet. So it's not on the floor itself. And now what I'm going to do, so I'm going to click here on the rectangle. And I'm just going to draw a rectangle of the shape of the soffit. Before I do that, I'm going to hit this define slope. I don't want a slope because if it's a typical flat panel soffit, I don't need a slope. If yours actually slopes, you can use that. But in this video, I'm going to show you just the flat case. So you're going to create your area where the panel of the slope soffit panels are going to be. I'm just going to do that shape for now. Hit the check mark. See, it'll go away just because it's 8 feet above. You don't actually see in that first floor anymore. This is the panel I created, or the area basically. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to architecture, curtain grid, like everything else, put some curtain grids in here, horizontally and vertically. Again, these define where your joints are going to be. And I'm going to do the same thing like I did with the regular flat panels. Select panels on host. Again, I right clicked on that. Sorry, right click. Select panels on host. And then change them from glazed. I'm just going to use the regular flat panel. And there you go. So there's your flat panel. This is the bottom. This is the looking up the soffit panel, and this is kind of inside the building, say. That's basically how you would do it. Pretty straightforward. The only tricky thing is the way that joints work is a little bit different. So if I look at this in 3D, you can compare where your view is. If I click on one of these and you change, the joint on the left, it's going from this side. You would suspect it would go from this side. The way it actually is looking at this is from the bottom. So as you can see, if I go to the bottom view and I rotate, then it makes more sense, right? So that's 1 foot from the left, looking at it from the bottom. You just want to position your view cube just so that it makes more sense when you're changing joint sizes. You can still do the right click, select panels on grid 1, which is this way. And you can change this and just change that to 1 foot. So you guys can see that it does move over. So that, then I'll do the same thing with here. Again, this is just demonstrating grid 2 and change the bottom to 1 foot. You see it moves up from the bottom. So you kind of have to be in the bottom view for it to make sense. You can do it from this view. It's just going to be a little bit opposite. But yeah, that's pretty much how it works. Change them all at the same time. And then again, you just want to make sure that you put in the panel elevation Soffit, and then again, if I go to my takeoff browser, refresh, I got more A's because these are just A shaped panels, again with no returns. And then if I take it out, you can see if I group it by elevation, there's 12 soffit panels. All right, so that's how you do the soffit. A case came up where the soffit wasn't, a typical rectangle. So let me just go to ceiling plan. So say it wasn't like rectangle this way. So what you can do is if you go to a roof by footprint, again, I can do it from level 1, 8 feet, change this to soffit panels. I can make it, it just needs to be a rectangle still. But the difference is, I'll show you without doing anything for it. If I put in a curtain grid, you can see it wants to move. It doesn't want it to go with the shape. It wants to make it, horizontally or vertically. So it just wants to go in this direction. I don't want it. I want to follow that angle. So what you want to do is in your footprint, I want to edit the footprint again. You need to define the way it slopes, even though it's not sloping. Hopefully that makes sense. You're going to use this slope arrow, and you're going to basically, I like to put it right in the middle. Just go across, and then you can select it. And instead of the height and tail over here, I want to define it by a slope. And down here it says slope. I want to change that to 0. That's just telling Revit that it's going to be in this direction, even though there's no slope. Now that I have that, I can go to architecture, curtain grid, and now you can see that I can put in those curtain grids. And now you can see if I go to my 3D, I'll have it in there at a different angle. I can do the same thing, panels on host, and make those that flat panel. It's going to say deleted because it's there's actually an extra one, which is if I right click on this, you can say select panels. There's a panels on face, and then there's a panels on host. So the panels on face is the panels you see here, which are colored. The panels on host, that's kind of everything plus an extra one, which Revit thinks should be there, but it doesn't really. It's a little weird, but that replace panels, it looks like it doesn't work, but it actually works. It's just you want to choose the panels on face. See, there's 9 here versus panels on host, there's 10. So there's an extra one that's not really seen, doesn't get taken off, but for some reason Revit thinks there should be an extra one in there. It's not on the sides or anything, it's just essentially the outside. You can think of it like an empty panel in there. You'll also see that if it's sloped, but that should work as well. If I go to takeoff browser, refresh, now I get 11 more. Oops, I didn't change those to the elevation soffit panel. On face, soffit panel, refresh. There, my soffit panels, and then I have more A's. There you go. That's how you do soffits. Again, rectangular versions. Once we get to the more complicated panels, we'll have to take a look, talk it over the panel team to see if it's really necessary for us to model in that complicated shape. There you go. Thank you.